Welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Mare, and we're breaking down the world of pro wrestling.
From the eyes of a smart fan.
And a casual fan, and everyone in between.
Whether you're a lifelong fan
or just getting into it,
you've got a ringside seat with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, marks and smart marks, welcome back to the most electrifying, slightly unhinged wrestling relationship podcast on planet Earth. This is Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling.
I'm Mr. Wrestling, and she's the only woman brave enough to co-host with me after surviving group chats during Royal Rumble season, Mrs. Wrestling.
And baby, we've got a loaded show today.
We're talking Monday Night Raw, where feelings were hurt, storylines got spicy, and somebody definitely stared into the hard cam like it owed them money.
But then we slide over to Friday Night SmackDown, where the drama is blue, the entrances are long, and the tension is thicker than a bloodline family dinner.
But wait, we're not stopping there.
Because across the wrestling multiverse, AEW Dynamite said, "You want chaos? We got you." High spots, wild promos, and at least one moment where you looked at the screen and said, "Oh, we're doing this tonight?"
And then
we're hopping a flight to AEW Grand Slam Australia because nothing says professional wrestling like jet lag, giant arenas, and somebody absolutely risking their spine for our entertainment, respectfully.
And then
because we're nothing if not internationally irresponsible,
we finish up in New Japan Pro Wrestling for a new beginning in Osaka, which felt more like a goodbye show.
Strong style, forearms that sound like car doors slamming, crowds that politely clap while absolute violence is happening in front of them.
You want storytelling? You want match quality? You want us wildly overreacting to near falls like we're courtside at the NBA Finals?
You came to the right place.
We've got takes, we've got debates, we've got at least one opinion that's going to get clipped out of context.
So grab your title belts, adjust your fantasy booking spreadsheets, and prepare yourself.
Because the bell is about to ring.
Let's get into it. All right, we're going to kick off the show with Raw. First, we had a WWE World Tag Team title match. The Usos defeat the Alpha Academy. So that was Akira Tozawa and Otis in 10 minutes and 1 second. Steve, tell me about this match.
So we've been getting a lot of emotion from Tozawa the last couple weeks, and I think this is the strongest he's looked since the inception of the Cruiserweight Classic. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely trying to get him over. I thought the ending of that match was crazy. That 1D that they hit was just absolutely brutal. But yeah, both teams, worked hard. They shook hands afterward. They're on the road to WrestleMania now, so they're always asking, what's next? What's next? And I don't know if Jimmy Uso's taking time off, but he was pushing for Jay to qualify and win for the Chamber. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would imagine his time off is coming very shortly. With Naomi, I would imagine getting closer and closer.
I agree.
9 months comes at you pretty quick.
And then we had an Elimination Chamber qualifying triple threat match. Rhea Ripley picks up the win against Ivy, Nile, and Lyra Valkyria. Now, I don't 100% follow SmackDown, so to me this feels very random. But Joe, is this something that's been in the works, or was it totally random that they put her against Lyra and Ivy?
I mean, I don't think it was necessarily random. I think they're just trying to get as many people involved in the mix. I found it really interesting that they had, not that Rhea won, because that's fine, she should win, but I found it interesting that they pinned Lyra and not Ivy, because I feel like Lyra's been pushed a lot harder the past year, so I just found that kind of interesting. I don't know if that's going to lead to any storyline implications down the road, but it was a little sloppy at times. I think they just didn't mesh well together. But you got to put Rhea in the Chamber, so I'm good with the result. Just interesting, like I said, sloppy match, and then not having Ivy take the fall was interesting. So we'll see what they do going forward here.
Steve, do you think that they have plans for Ivy Nile? It seems like they protected her in this match.
Yeah, it sure made it seem like she was a lot more important than she's been made to be the last few months, even years. So I definitely, that's what stood out to me in this match. Not even that Rhea won, because I mean, looking at it, it makes total sense for Rhea to win, but they definitely presented Ivy different than they have previously. Even her attire, her makeup, her just whole look looked a little bit different. So it definitely seems like they have ideas for her.
Did they soften her, or like, what do you mean by her look?
Her hair's different. She looked more feminine, not as like strong and empowering as she was before. So it definitely made you think. And, this would be someone that you could put, I know I mentioned it every week, but here's someone else you could put with Chelsea, have her be, the next person with her to give her something different, especially if Chelsea's going to be out for a while and needing protection.
Yeah, I mean, and she's got the muscles to push Chelsea around in that wheelchair.
Yes.
All right, moving right along, we had a singles match, Maxine Dupree versus Natty. It was a double count out. To me, it feels redundant. It feels like they just had a match, but I mean, that's coming from me. Joe, how'd you feel about this quick double count out match?
I mean, the booking, I think, concept on this was like, let's protect Maxine, but you're not really protecting her when Natty just pounds on her for the duration, and then the referee just throws it out. I mean, I don't know. It was just a really, really weird booking decision. I know AJ ran down and made a save there, but it's one of those scratch your head kind of segments where it's like nothing really gets furthered here. They feel like they're protecting Maxine, but they just make her look bad, So I don't know. It's kind of the trend right now. I mean, WrestleMania. I don't really remember a WrestleMania being kind of like an afterthought as much as this one is going to be. The ticket sales are soft. And they've always promoted, at least the last, 20 years or so, it's like WrestleMania sells itself on its name value. Well, guess what? This year it's not. So it's like, I think the booking has a lot to do with it. It's just very questionable, a lot of stuff that they're doing. So things like this, they don't further anything. It's, you just kind of scratch your head. It's like, well, what are we doing here? I hope that Triple H is able to kind of turn this thing around in the next, 5, 6 weeks, because we're getting down into crunch time here. I know we have our main event set, but it's like you still need an undercard no matter what. You're not selling the house on Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant anymore. So you gotta have some good undercard stuff. So I'm just hoping that things will turn around here for the best.
Steve, so there's been rumors about Soraya returning. Do you think that, any of that has anything to do with this in particular with AJ and whatnot?
I mean, I think AJ's going to be the champion coming out of WrestleMania, whether she wins it at Mania or after the fact. And I think they're going to go right back to what we saw the night after WrestleMania 30, where AJ is the champ and out there, and boom, here comes Soraya making her big return the night after WrestleMania, like we always see.
Yeah,
And
that was really. I remember being there for that, Steve, when we were there, and well, I think that was New Orleans, right? Yeah, I mean that place went nuts for that. I mean that was a really cool moment for I know she was on NXT at the time, Paige, but yeah, that was cool to see, and I don't disagree, Steve. I think that could be something they do here. I like it.
do you think that she's going to come back as Paige? Like, can they use the Soraya name, or they're going to want her to be Paige because that's what um WWE fans know her as?
I mean, they
The,
brought back
the
Zack Ryder as Matt Cardona, so they could bring her back as Saraya. It could just be a preference, maybe, possibly, Steve. I don't know what your thoughts are.
the first time she'll probably be Paige. I mean, she stated that she'd like to play Paige again. So I think it would be an updated version of Paige, because I think to her that's a character she has, a special connection to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that theme music always got a pop too. So I could definitely see her coming back with that theme music if they can iron out a deal with CFO. I think that's who did that theme, so they'd probably have to make an agreement with them to get that back.
Yeah, I'm sure they could. I mean, that it wouldn't be an issue, I would think.
All right. Let's move on to the next tag team match. It was El Grande Americano and Javon Evans picking up the win against Los Americanos. So that was Bravo Americano and Rayo Americano with El Grande Americano at their side. And that would be Chad Gable at their side. Okay. Steve, what did you think of this match?
The closing spot here with Javon was a sight to see. It went viral. They showed a lot of different angles of it, and it just shows you how special Javon is to be able to hit a cutter from one ring post to another and meet in the middle of the ring was timed perfectly. So definitely something to go out and see. And I can definitely see a mask versus mask. Excuse me. I can see a mask versus mask match coming down the line, whether that's a AAA or something they could add to WrestleMania. That would be something huge.
Of the Grande Americanos, I mean, who should reign supreme of the people playing that character?
If it was, I mean, they both play it great, different styles, obviously. I think um, Kaiser probably is getting the gimmick over better, but I think Chad Gable needs to be Chad Gable again. So I'm thinking I think we did touch on this last show. I hope they do a mask versus mask match. You know, at WrestleMania, I want them to keep the momentum going week by week and build towards. I mean, I guess you could even do it at Elimination Chamber, all depending on what they're trying to get on Mania. But I know they got 2 nights now, so they should be able to fit it. But either way, I mean, I'd love to see a mask versus mask match, and I want to see Kaiser unmask Gable because I want to see Chad Gable again. I think Gable could get over huge as Chad Gable. I think this was almost like one of those pressures that kind of rejuvenated him because he's a tremendous in-ring worker and a good character, always has been. So that's kind of my thought process on everything.
I think it would be fun to see how big his beard is under that mask because he's clearly grown out some facial hair since he's been gone.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely want to see the mask versus mask. I think that'd be really cool on that stage.
Yeah, I
And
think that'd be fun.
it would be a first time in WWE history that they've had a match like that, especially at WrestleMania. So that would be something different, especially if you're trying to get eyes in Mexico and get that brand up and rolling to be able to showcase like a lucha type match in WrestleMania would be huge.
Yeah, Steve, I agree. I mean, I really think like they should definitely do that with those two, and I wouldn't be opposed to like have Dominic Mysterio defend the AAA title at WrestleMania. I think that'd be cool too. You know, promote your other niche brand, you know, I think that would be smart for them to do, get some eyes on it. Oh, what's because we've discussed this before, you have casual fans and non-fans that watch, the big 4, 5 shows every year with friends and family, whatever. Like, what's this? AAA? What's this? People
Yeah,
might be like, oh, that's really cool. Let's check this out. So I think they should do something like that on Mania.
yeah, it would definitely highlight a brand that, the casual fans may not be watching. And it is fun to see, watching AAA. I think it's different and something that I think the average, casual watcher would enjoy it.
And the thing that WWE has to start prepping for is next year. Because if you think the ticket sales are down this year for Mania, wait till next year because you're not going to have the influx of international travelers like you normally do to a WrestleMania weekend. And I tweeted about this a couple weeks ago. If WWE was smart, they would make their own WrestleMania weekend with a AAA show, with a TNA show, and do stuff like Evolve and try to, you know, get these other shows some eyes on it that normally wouldn't get the eyes on it. And maybe sell that to like Netflix as like, hey, look at these one offs that you can promote and show live and maybe get the partnerships like Fox in Mexico on board and just try to get some eyes on this stuff. That's just my thought.
Yeah,
So
I
they're
mean,
having it. Where's WrestleMania? Is it in Saudi Arabia next year? Be a hard sell. Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Jeff?
no, I mean, I think they should put all of their brands out in the open during these big, pay-per-view weekends.
Yeah.
It just makes smart sense. Like I said, I mean, they've been doing, these independents and smaller companies have been, piggybacking off of WWE for years on these WrestleMania weekends. So why shouldn't WWE promote their own brands? Let them book NXT and Raw and SmackDown and Triple. Like, why not let everybody get their eyes on the product? And you know they sell these package deals anyway, so include all that with it. So I think it's a smart idea.
Yeah, and I think the funnest thing about WrestleMania weekend is all the things that are going on outside of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I can tell you, you're not getting a GCW or a Joey Janela Spring Break in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, probably not. Or Joey Ryan's penis party, not getting one of those there either.
I mean
Pro- Probably not.
that has a better chance of getting over than maybe like a Stardom show.
Then we're going to pick it up with the Elimination Chamber qualifying triple threat match. LA Knight defeats Austin Theory and Penta in 13 minutes and 41 seconds. What did you guys think about this match, Joe? Why don't you talk to me about it?
I mean, I'm good with LA winning. Like we touched on in the past, he's on the cusp of being a top guy. What kills me is like all the interference, and then I don't know who was underneath the hood of the guy that that stomped Theory, but it looked kind of like Sami Zayn. I don't know, Steve, you might agree or disagree with me. I was kind of like, is that Sami Zayn? So who knows what's going to happen? But I mean, it furthered, LA getting in the chamber, which I'm good with, but all this interference is just like every show we watch anymore. I just feel like they overdo the interference, almost on every show. There's something going on, but overall, I thought it was fine. And LA Knight needs to be in the chamber. He's right now. He's one of their upper mid card guys. So I was fine with it.
Let's see. This is another run for the Masked Attacker. So who do you think this is, Steve? Do you think it is Seth Rollins?
I mean, that's what they're playing it up to be, and that's fine and all, but what's it leading to? That's my big question because Braun Breaker's hurt, Seth Rollins is hurt. So is there really a clamoring to have that at WrestleMania? I don't feel it. So I mean, I don't get what the point is for it. And it is what it is. It's just WWE doing WWE things.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not clamoring to see a Seth Rollins and Austin Theory feud either, because that's literally all they have left. So I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we'll just kind of see where it leads to. But I just saw some of the stuff. When I watched it, I'm just like, what are they thinking? But I mean, hey, we're the fans here. We we're the ones watching, so we'll see where they go.
I mean, my whole thing with the vision is where are they going with the group? What's the point other than to get Braun the title? I mean, are these other
Yeah,
guys just there? I mean, give them a purpose. Go after the tag titles. Make the tag division something.
I agree.
The Intercontinental title hasn't been defended since Survivor Series, so that's something
Yeah,
else.
and yeah, I mean that's what Dom. Yeah, I mean, so he has the AAA Mega title and the Intercontinental title, and he doesn't defend either one. So I mean,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. And that goes back to what we've talked about before for years. I mean, before the podcast, that these companies, there are way too many belts. Way too many belts. So that also poses a problem too when you just have all these titles and a majority of them really don't mean a whole lot, at the end of the day. So it's something that really needs to, I think, change going forward over the next couple of years. They really need to, consolidate some of these titles, unify them, and just cut back on them because a lot of them are just meaningless. You know,
I mean, at least these other companies defend them.
yeah, true. That is a good point. They do defend them, but yeah, I mean, there's just way too many overall.
So for Dominic Mysterio, does he not have a match in WrestleMania yet? Is there no booking for him, or what's going on with that?
He's hurt. No one really knows. Supposedly tonight on Raw, there's going to be an announcement about the Intercontinental title, but from what it looked like, it seemed, and this is the problem, you don't really know because are they booking for AAA or are they booking for WWE? Because you would think, a Dom and Ray match would be a big match, but are they saving that for a Triple Mania or is that going to be a Mania match? And with Dom up in the air and Ray back to being hurt again, it makes it tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, injuries are always the Achilles heel, so to speak. For these big shows. So yeah, there's a lot going forward that they need to figure out.
So do you think they would have him vacate the Intercontinental title so that somebody else can, or do like a tournament for it?
It depends on how much longer he's going to be out. If he can be back in the next, by Chamber at the latest, then I mean, it's already been this long. It's like the same thing with Nick Wayne in the Ring of Honor TV title. at this point, it's already gone untouched for so long. You might as well ride it out.
I forgot about Nick Wayne.
Yeah, yeah. He's been gone a while.
So let's get to SmackDown here. All right, on SmackDown we had a WWE Women's Tag Team title match. So Rio versus the Irresistible Forces, and that's what they're calling Lash Legend and Nia Jax right now, is the Irresistible Forces,
Yep.
I mean, there could be
not
worse
the
names.
immovable objects.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there could be
guess.
worse names. I guess we're good with that. So we'll stick with it.
And then surprise, surprise, guys, it was a double count out, 11 minutes and 15 seconds. Let's hear about it, Joe. What'd you think of this match?
It was kind of there.
It was
Um,
there.
it was there. I mean, it wasn't terrible by any means. It just kind of, was a placeholder. I feel like WWE is just they're the one thing I will say that I liked about Vince McMahon is even though he was a quote sports entertainment guy, right? He still liked to keep things, I call him clean and crisp. Like I'll kind of leave it for Steve to take over there.
Yeah, I thought it was a horrible way to start the show. I hate these non-finishes, and in WWE, you get at least one a show, it seems.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they're so scared to give somebody a loss, but everybody loses. Every sports team loses, every fighter is lost. You know, People can come back from it. That's part of the journey. And my thinking is, if you don't want a certain person to lose, don't book them in the match. Book a different match.
Yep.
Go a different way. Don't put it out there just to tease it. And if you're not sure if it'll work or not, start running house shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, these
Yep.
these non finishes on TV, it's just a waste.
Yeah, because a lot of the times it doesn't further anything, and it's not like I said. We talked about Maxine, on the previous show. It's like you're not really protecting her when she's just getting her ass kicked for 90 seconds, and then they throw the match out. It doesn't do anything for her at all. It makes her look worse, actually. You know.
Yeah. I think it's just, I don't know, I don't understand why they do it either, but it is, like becoming so predictable and one note for the show every week because you can count on like a double count out or whatever, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's boring. But I was telling Steve when we were watching this the other day that I always think of Rhea Ripley as a big girl, but not big like Nia Jax big or Lash Legend big, but like she for the women's roster, she's very tall. I mean, her partner is she's not very tall at all. And seeing her wrestle against Nia Jax and Lash Legend, I was like, oh my God, she's so tiny compared to them. Like, she always seems like one of the bigger wrestlers to me, but she really isn't, very big at all.
She's very tall, and she has a very athletic build, and she spends a lot of time in the weight room. She's very lean. If you go back a couple years, and I'm not saying that she was not in good shape because she's always been in great shape, but she's definitely leaned out a lot with
Oh,
her physique.
definitely. Compared to what she looked like in the Mae Young Classic, she's definitely, very lean, but she wasn't big by any means then either, but like you said,
Oh
she
yeah.
built muscle.
She's solid muscle. I mean, it's hard to gauge. I mean, looking on TV and that, but if I had to guess a ballpark, I mean, her and Charlotte Flair, probably Rhea probably weighs a little bit more because she thinks she has a little bit more muscle now because Charlotte did thin out a little bit. But they're probably sitting close to probably I'd say 170 to 200 pounds each, and that might seem like a lot when you hear that, but it really isn't when you're tall and muscular. So Jax has definitely a bigger frame. Lash Legend, I believe, played in the WNBA. She's a very tall, she has we used to call it, a bigger boned person, but not in a bad way. But yeah, I mean, you got these girls, they're big and strong and powerful, and they're capable of doing really good things now. And the style of wrestling is so different now than it was years and years ago that they're all able to adapt, a lot like the men. They can all wrestle different styles and they have their different, plus and minuses of their style. So they're able to really adapt. I think the women's game overall in pro wrestling right now internationally is really, really good. Like you can watch a WWE, you can watch an AEW, a Stardom, now we have New Japan with women, in Mexico, CMLL, like you have Rev Pro. I mean, you can literally turn on any promotion at this point in the world, and you can have really good women's wrestling. So I think it just speaks of how the business has evolved and how the women have been taken more seriously than they were, in the 70s and 80s and, even in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, in gym culture, strong is the new skinny now. It's better to be strong than it is to be, skinny. That's how, I mean,
Yeah.
if you
You're yeah,
follow
you're 100%
influences.
right. Yeah, yeah, you're 100% right, Mayor. Like that's, those what was it like when we were kids, like in the 80s and 90s, like the anorexic supermodels. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, and now it's like, no, they want to see these girls with muscle and a good physique. So the times have definitely changed for the better, I think.
They want to see bitches that fight bears in the woods. All right, let's move on to this 10-man tag team match. So the MFTs defeat Apollo Crews, Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, Matt Cardona, and Shinsuke Nakamura in 14 minutes and 30 seconds. I had no idea that there were so many people in the MFTs group. Steven, talk to me about this match. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, this felt like an old school house show match. So, the MFTs, they're in the never ending feud with the Wyatts, and everybody else is pretty much battling for the US title. So they came together and fought a match. But I feel Nakamura has looked really strong the last month. He's gone back to more of how he was originally presented in WWE, and Tama picking up the win was good. He's super talented and he's bulked up a lot, so I would like to see him, battle someone like Carmelo for the US title coming up and get a little bit of a showcase.
Yeah, Tama Tonga looked huge whenever I saw the tail end of this match. Like, he looked a lot different to me than what he did back when he was in New Japan. All right, let's move on to the non-title Elimination Chamber qualifying triple threat match. Alexa Bliss defeats Julia and Zelina Vega in 11 minutes and 20 seconds. I just remember at one point we were watching the match, or well, Steve was, and I was just sitting there. But Zelina Vega like got in the middle of the ring and did this silly thing, I guess, that she does anyways, like in her entrance. And Steven was like, what is she doing right now? Like, there's a whole match going on, and she's just laying in the ring. Joe, what did you think of this match?
It was all right, I guess. I mean, it wasn't the best match of the night, obviously. I probably, I don't know. If it was me booking, I probably would have put Julia in there to get her a little bit more. I know they haven't really booked her all that well recently, so I would have probably slotted her there. But I mean, Bliss is of the three, she's the big name, so I'm okay with her being in there. It's not like she's not over or anything, and she's not getting X Pac heat. So I was fine with it. The finish was different, but Zelina was doing that running dive thing, and then Bliss hit her and got Sister Abigail for the win. So it was fine. I mean, I'm okay with Alexa being in there. So
Steve, you've kind of talked about Julia. It seemed like you had high hopes for her. Who is the bigger letdown since signing with WWE, Blake Monroe or Julia?
And that's a tough one. I would probably have to go. It's almost a push at this matter because the whole split from Stardom, the big piece was Julia coming out of that. And the push that Blake had coming into WWE was huge. And now you see that was more Tony Storm than anything else. But I guess I'd have to go with Julia just because of how important she was supposed to be for the international aspect. And now it seems like she's the afterthought in her pairing with Kiana James. They're making her out to be stronger than Julia, who's actually the champion at this moment.
yeah, I mean, I don't at all disagree with what Steve just said. I will say this though. I mean, Mariah May, you know, and Steve's right. Tony Storm, now looking back, played a huge, huge role in this. But I mean, there was a point, during Mariah's title run in AEW that she was probably the most over woman in the world, arguably, other than maybe Rhea Ripley. You could probably have gone one or two on that, or 1A, 1B, for a few months there, and I don't know, I know we've talked about this before on the podcast about the motivations to leave and go elsewhere. So yeah, I mean, you got two really big stars when they were in other companies, and now they came in to the WWE branded, companies, and it's like, well, are they better off or worse than they were? So, it's the only good thing is they can really only go up right now. They've lost some luster and some fanfare, but I think that's could be a good thing going forward if they can get it back. Maybe they'll be better off, but time will tell.
I mean, do you think it's that thing that we've talked about where there's just too many people on the roster right now, too much talent? There's no really room for them to go anywhere, and that's why they've been kind of lackluster since they joined WWE?
I mean, for someone like, Blake Monroe, she's in NXT. She should be, the forefront of NXT right now because they don't have a lot of male stars, but she's not even in the world title picture. She's never been in the world title picture there. And it doesn't make any sense to me. And when you look at it, I mean, realistically, she's not going to be on this year's Mania's card. Is
Mm.
she really going to be on next year's Mania card? Probably not. So, I mean, at most, you're looking at maybe 3 years for her to potentially be on a Mania card, and if that's, the selling point, like, "Oh, we can get you on WrestleMania," look, you're gonna be 3 years in before potentially looking at a Mania spot.
Yeah. I mean, I know, Steve, I had probably texted about it at the time. It's like, why would they bring her in as big as she was and as hot as she was, in popularity when she signed, and as big of a deal as it was to put her in NXT, when she was, main eventing, you know, dynamites and semi-mains on, pay-per-views, and to change her name and put her in NXT. I mean, they should have brought her to Raw or SmackDown as Mariah May and had her go right after, Becky Lynch or whoever at the time, I don't recall off the top of my head, was at the top, Charlotte, whoever. Like, that's how you establish, we just got this big star. You know what I mean? Like, to send her to NXT, change her name, like you said, Steve, she's never even been in the title picture down there other than the secondary belt. It's like, what good has this done for her as the Blake Monroe brand? It hasn't done anything, and it's like you made a big deal about getting her from AEW, but you just made her less important. So
You know what it reminds me of?
that
Bret Hart and W.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't hate that comparison at all. Actually, that's a good comparison.
Coming in hot off a major feud, a surprise, like, how do you leave after having the match you just had, and they sign her and don't really do anything, and then to top it all off, like, her luster has gone down, I think, tenfold
Yeah,
since that botch finish in NXT where she dropped the North American title.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, we could talk about that ad nauseum, but yeah, I mean, I think a lot left on the table with her. Big, like I said, huge star. They signed her. It's like, oh my God, WWE got Mariah May, and it's not like doesn't even matter. It's like we stole this big star from AEW and we did nothing with her. We've actually devalued her. So in their eyes, are they even making money off of her? And that's at the end of the day, what they want to do is they want to merchandise, sell T-shirts and backpacks and lunch boxes and everything. It's like, well, they're not doing that with her. So it's like, why did we spend all this money to steal her from AEW when we're really not getting anything back in return because we're booking her horribly? So it's just a sad situation all around when you see these horrible moves. When people should have stayed put and then they leave, and now it's like, well, your career's not any better than it was. It's actually worse off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I agree about, where she'll be in a few years. It's gonna take her at least, like, 3 years to get to a WrestleMania if they even hang on to her for that long, when she could have totally come in hot like AJ Styles. That would have
Yeah,
been the
yeah,
way to do it, and she could have, got like, stolen the championship from whoever was the champion at the time when she started with the company. Because I also don't really remember what was going on at that time, but like, she had that star power, and it is unfortunate, that they haven't made good use of her, and hopefully, I mean, she could be on Charlotte's level. Like, she had that capability on the mic when she was in AEW, and she could get to that height again, but it's just like at this point, like you guys have said already, So how many chances are they gonna give her? You know what I mean? She's gonna have to get clocked in the orbital bone or the nose or whatever by Nia Jax to get big now.
Yeah, exactly. She could definitely get there. It's just that they gotta, they have to do something to make people care because right now she's just floundering. Not that I don't want to see her go back to AEW in a couple years because that'd be great because they could just, restart everything again with Tony Storm. But, like Steve said earlier, Tony Storm is becoming, one of those girls where when her career is all said and done, it's gonna be like, wow, look what she did, all over the world with all these different people at different points and companies and stages. And, she's going to go down, as one of those performers that was able to work with anybody and everybody all over the world.
Yeah. She's gonna be like one of those she changed the game for a lot of women in the future that are, probably currently too much or you know what I mean? Like she's paving the way for a lot of them. But we could talk about them forever.
Of
Um,
course.
let's move on to the next singles match. It was Trick Williams picking up the win against Ray Phoenix in 11 minutes and 59 seconds. Trick is huge right now, Steve. How did you feel about this match and his win over Ray Phoenix?
Yeah, he's super over. As soon as his music hits, he gets that reaction. His catchphrases are perfect for WWE with his lemon pepper steppers. I thought him roasting Sammy was great, and sticking him with someone that can work like Ray Phoenix is smart. And it definitely seems like we're going to be building towards a Mello and Trick match, which would be something huge for WrestleMania to get him over.
Yeah, I think a Mello and Trick match would be good. Mello is entertaining to watch and, whoop that Trick, he's over. So I think it would be awesome to watch. All right. Then we had a WWE Women's Title match. Jade Cargill defeats Jordan Grace in 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, I didn't watch this match, but I did hear what Meltzer said about it earlier, so I'm probably not going to comment. But what do you guys think, Joe? How'd you feel about this match?
I thought it was a good match. Jordan Grace is a really good worker. I'm glad she's, I would have loved to see her, in AEW, but I'm glad that she is in WWE and she's getting showcased. She's come a long way since she started. So she's really transformed her physique and her in-ring work is really, really good. I think the match honestly was pretty good. I mean, Jade Cargill is not known as a great worker, obviously, but the match was fine. It was a little short, but still, I could see them rerunning this, down the line, whether they do it at WrestleMania or after WrestleMania. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. It was fine for what they did.
Yeah, this match had potential and had some moments, but when you look at the grand scheme of Jordan Grace, how she was presented in TNA compared to how she is in WWE, it's night and day. And I'm not sure I can ever envision her being on top in WWE. It just doesn't seem like their type of individual to put in the forefront, which is a shame because she's super talented, but I just don't think WWE is gonna give her the ball and let her run with it like that.
There's potential there, though, Steve. I think that it could happen if she's there at the right time and the right program, and there might be an injury or two. They could throw the strap on her at some point. You never know.
Be all about her having a run as the muscle mommy, and like really like taking her muscles to the heights they were when she was doing the bodybuilding competitions and stuff on Instagram. Like her content, I just loved all of it. Like she was just strong and like I think it would be such a fun and unique thing to have on the roster because you don't see that. I mean, everyone is strong in the women's division in terms of their physique. Like we said, strong is the new skinny. But to see somebody, take it to that China level where you're like, oh my God, like look at her. I think it would be so fun and unique and something that they haven't done since China. And it could even be different because it's Jordan Grace, it could be, totally different. I think it would be so fun to see her in that role and get to be that strong, but feminine character.
I'd love to see her in the Vision and be getting that Steiner rub because she's in with Scott Steiner already because she used to go by Thick Mama Pump. I would like to see her in there because she's not the best promo. But if you had someone like Heyman hyping her up, touting her and what she can do, and presenting her next to like a lunatic like Braun Breaker, it would give her something different. And that would set right up to, go into like a CM Punk feud where, maybe you have Braun and Jordan against CM Punk and AJ, and her ragdolling AJ, like China used to do back in the day, would be something to give her that rub and get her over.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have the ability to definitely get behind her. So hopefully, like I said, I know right now she's not in the mix, and that mix is hard to get into on the men's and women's side. So it could take someone going out for a little bit on an injury or a personal leave or something. But I think she definitely is. She's on the right track where that they're not. I don't think they're not underbooking her, so to speak. They're keeping her in kind of in the middle mix, which means at any point she could get the big run if someone's out. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah. All right. Then we had an Elimination Chamber qualifying triple threat match. Cody Rhodes picks up the win against Jacob Fatu and Sami Zayn in 21 minutes and 50 seconds. So, what are your thoughts on this match, Joe? How'd you feel about Cody Rhodes winning? I mean, he's the guy, right?
I mean, I'm glad he won the chamber versus the rumble. I think it was too soon to have him win another rumble. He's been, like we've talked about here, almost to the AEW Cody. You know, and I think a lot of the fans here in WWE though don't really know that part of Cody, so that's probably a good thing. I thought the match was perfectly fine. Like I said, we always get the interference and all that jazz, but you know, I think having him going into WrestleMania, he's going to need to win the chamber. So if that's the route they go, I'm glad he's going to head in there. So overall, I thought it was fine. Let's just see where they're going here because there's a lot of different detours they could take, because we've seen how fast plans change in WWE, going into these big shows. So there's still time that they could take another left turn and something could change. So, but no, overall, I think Cody going into the chamber is fine. If they're going to have him win it, I'm good with that. I think it's better than having him win the Rumble again, like I said before. So, let's just see where they decide to.
Steve, what do you think about Drew McIntyre continuously getting involved?
Yeah, it seems like he's making his own life harder because now he's got Randy Orton, LA Knight, and Cody Rhodes all in the Elimination Chamber. So he's not making it easy on himself. It just makes me think, especially the way they teased it before the start of the match. Could Sammy still get his WrestleMania moment? One thing I was thinking about for both chamber matches, for that last spot, I'd like to see like, maybe like a four-way or a five-way, however many people, or however you want to do it, a battle royal or, something to get that last spot to be like a gauntlet type match where everybody that didn't win their match gets one final shot to get in. But if they win, they have to enter first into the chamber. Something different to make it a little more impactful.
All right, we've yelled about WWE, we've fantasy booked like we're on the creative team payroll, and we've emotionally processed at least 3 dramatic camera zooms. But now,
Now we put the sports entertainment glitter down and step into something a little more stiffer.
because while WWE is giving us cinematic entrances and storyline swerves over in New Japan Pro Wrestling, they're saying that's cute, now hold this forearm.
We're leaving the bright lights and 20-minute monologues behind and heading to the land of strong style, respectful crowds, and matches that sound like two oak trees colliding in the middle of the ring.
Different vibe, different pace, same chaos, just with a little more ice packs afterwards.
Let's take this trip to Japan and break down what went down at New Beginning in Osaka.